All right, here we're going to convert this equation of an ellipse into standard form so that we can graph it. In order to do that, you need to complete the square, and so I'm going to go through those steps here. So first, you might need to rearrange the terms so that the x's are together. So I want these two to be together and the y's are together. So I'm going to write the 4x squared minus 16x plus 9y squared minus 18y. Make sure that you're paying attention to those plus and minuses and taking that with you when you move the term. Now you might need to factor the groups, the x's and the y's, so that the coefficient in front of what's being squared is a 1. So you might notice this is a 4 and this is a 9. So we need to change those to 1s. So in order to change that 4 to a 1, I'm going to factor out a 4. So I need to factor out a 4 out of this whole group. So if I divide each of those terms by 4, I have an x squared, which is what I wanted, and then minus 4x. And the same here. In order to get rid of that 9, I need to factor out a positive 9. So I end up with a y squared minus 2y. Now you can combine step 2 and 3. I'm just writing them separate here to show you need to leave a space within those parentheses in order to complete the square. So I'm going to just rewrite it and leave a little space there. And the same here, I'm going to rewrite it and leave a little space. Now what goes in that space, in order to figure out what goes in this space, you're going to take that middle term. So for the x's, my middle term is a negative 4. I'm going to divide it by 2, and then I'm going to square it. And so for the y's, that middle term is a negative 2. I'm going to divide it by 2, and I'm going to square it. So let's simplify that. So you still have your x squared minus 4x. Negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2 squared is positive 4. And the same here. I still have this. Negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1 squared is positive 1. Now remember, when you're solving equations, you can add numbers on one side of the equal sign, but you have to add that same number to the other side of the equal sign. So we can't just add that plus 4 and that plus 1. We need to add something on the right side as well. So you need to ask yourself, what do I add on the right side? Are we just adding a plus 4 and a plus 1? No, look at that. That plus 4 is inside parentheses. So that plus 4 is actually 4 times 4. We actually added a 16. So we have to add a 16 over here. And that plus 1 is actually 9 times 1. We actually added a 9. So we need to add a 9 over here as well. So what we have is this and this. But on the right side, when we add the 16 and the 9, we have a 36. Now that we've completed the square, we can factor what is inside of the parentheses. Now, if you want to look at that and think, okay, I'm going to factor it, and I'm going to factor it using whatever method you want, I'm going to tell you a little shortcut here. This is going to be x, and this is going to be something squared. If you look back up at step number 3, whatever it was here, when you divide it by 2, negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. That's what is being squared here. If you were to do FOIL, x minus 2 times x minus 2, you would see you have x squared minus 2x minus 2x plus 4. that's the same as x squared minus 4x plus 4. So that's just a little shortcut. So here we have 9y. And if you look back up to step number 3, what was being squared when we were trying to figure out what to add there? Negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. So it's y minus 1. And again, if you want to check it, you can just do FOIL and make sure that that gives you the y squared minus 2y plus 1. All right, so the last step for an equation of an ellipse, you need to have it equal to 0, or equal to 1. So you want to look at this 36 and say, wait, I want that to be a 1. How do I change it to a 1? You need to divide by 36. And remember, if you divide the right side by 36, you need to divide the left side by 36 as well. So I'm going to divide that by 36, divide that by 36. And what do we get? So if we look at this first term, 4 over 36, if I cancel out that 4, we get a 9 in the denominator, and we have x minus 2 squared. And for the second term, 9 over 36, if I cancel out the 9, I have a 4 in the denominator. And then 36 over 36 is 1. So this is the equation of our ellipse, which now we can see what the center is and where the vertices are. And I'm going to graph this ellipse on my next video.